Tonight, are all environmentalists liars?
If we're gonna say, hey, let's recycle our beer cans and bottles, let's tell that to the Irish.
Give a hoot, debate pollution, right here on Crossballs.
Comedians posing as experts.
Pot is good for everyone.
Women are designed for sex.
Hunting is self-defense.
I drive drunk all the time.
Debating real people.
I'm not gay.
It's totally immoral.
Who don't know the show is fake.
That's a lie. You're an idiot.
Die.
Out of the crossfire, beyond hardball. This is Crossballs.
I'm Chris Tallman. Tonight's topic, pollution in America. Trash in our streets, smog in our skies, toxic waste in our oceans. Are we just making ourselves at home on our planet, or has Mother Earth become a real bitch? First up, the author of the California Democratic Party's Heritage Tree State Resolution, Joey Ricano. Also with us is corporate environmental consultant Matthew Parker. Thank you for being with us. Question of the day. Should we trust private industry to do what's right for the environment? Joey, let's start with you.
They spend millions of dollars studying ways to allay our fears, to make you think that everything's okay, and actually they're really good at their job, and it's kind of scary.
All right, Matt, how do you respond?
Well, Chris, it's time to ask ourselves the hard questions. How much nature do we actually need? You know, I mean, do we really need nature everywhere? I think that's what you need to ask yourself. You've heard of man versus nature before, right? You've heard of that?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm for man, okay? I'm on man's side. I don't know whose side you're on.
Is that true?
Well, I think he needs to get in touch with the fact that he is nature. And
I agree. And since I'm part of nature, I can do whatever I want to nature. I'm not harming nature. I'm just moving it around. I'm changing it.
Now, Mr. Parker's been working with a lobbyist group to create an industrial video to address complaints made by environmentalists. Let's take a look.
In the 1970s, environmentalists went on the attack, telling us all how bad we are and about all the bad things we're doing to the environment. We even made this poor Indian cry. The fact of the matter is, this so-called Indian was really an Italian-American named Oscar de Corti. It makes you wonder what else the agenda-driven liberals will lie about. They say creating the energy we all need is somehow making the planet warmer. They say building new homes and creating jobs is taking away animal habitats. They say having a nice green lawn is somehow magically polluting our lakes and oceans. But we can't believe anything the environmentalists say. Just ask Oscar. That's right. Keep crying, because nobody believes your lies anymore. Stop the lies and support responsible environmental legislation.
All right. Joey, what'd you think of the video?
that's the old shell game. You know, we want to look at anything but the issue. You know, we want to look at whether the guy was Italian or this or that. Remember, he was an actor, and actors act.
Environmentalists need to see that the glass is half full, not half empty. It's like, sure, we'll have an oil spill every once in a while in the ocean, but look at that oil spill in the water. It forms pretty little rainbows if you look at it in the right way. Look at those gulls, those seagulls that we're supposedly destroying, you know, and they're struggling. They're big air rats.
The seagulls right now are dying, and the reason they're dying is because they're eating particles from
Okay, well, I think that's a great thing. You know what happens when they do fill their stomachs with food? They crap it all over my car. And I don't like that. Let me ask you something. This is a question. Do you think smog makes sunsets look more beautiful? Because I do.
I don't think that's pretty. So you don't think that's pretty. All right. Landfills across the country are filling up. Where should all this garbage go? Matt.
Well, there's a lot of states out there that don't have much population, aren't really being used for anything. The North, South Dakota, that comes to mind. I get them confused. Does anyone here know someone from North, South Dakota? Probably not. If you do, their last name is probably Unabomber. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, let's take North Dakota. You know, let's take the Black Hills. Let's send all our garbage there. Send all our pollution there. And you know what? We are, you know, ruining one state, but we're making 40 49 states pristine. Think about it. We can get our undesirables of United States to man that state, to take care of the garbage.
What do you mean by undesirables?
Well, pedophiles, as you know, are released from prison. I don't want them living in my neighborhood, that's for sure. Let's send them to North Dakota to take care of the garbage. We can call it Megan State. What's wrong with that?
Some of my best friends live in South Dakota.
All right.
I believe it.
Joey,
I believe it.
is that a good idea?
You need to get a hold of your own ego and realize that the energy that you need really is within your own body. You don't need 10 blow dryers and 6 Humvees. The main thing with recycling is it takes a lot of energy to recycle, so you always want to think of it this way: reduce, reuse, recycle. In that order.
It's obvious that you don't need a hair blower. You don't even need one hair blower.
That's not called
But that's
for.
not fair to tell people with hair that they don't need hair blowers, okay?
All right, coming up, personal pollution. One expert says all that litters isn't gold.
If you're looking for somebody to blame, you need look no further than the gays, because they have turned our city parks into a condom receptacle wasteland.
When Crossballs returns. Welcome back. Tonight's topic, pollution in America. Should we be more responsible for our trash, or should we get the pick of the litter? Joining us now is the coordinator of Downey, California's Keep Downey Beautiful program, Carol Rowland, and Clemson, Montana Parks and Sanitation Supervisor, Andy DeLong. The real question, what should we be doing about the littering problem? Carol.
We should be getting involved. We should be educating our public. We should be doing cleanups. We should be planting trees. Education really is the big key.
All right, Andrew, what do you think?
Litter and pollution are serious problems, and they need to be dealt with seriously. We need to take a hard scientific look at who is polluting and how. In my town of Clemson, Montana, we received a government grant to study this issue, and one of the things that we found is that littering can often be predicted based on socioeconomic and cultural basis. It's not the most politically correct thing in the world to say.
Carol.
Everybody litters. Why you have a lot of litter is you have dense areas. It's a culture of our society.
But the fact of the matter is that different types of people litter differently. And we need to acknowledge that so we can focus our education efforts in certain communities, and we can hold the right people responsible for what they're doing, what they may not even know they're doing.
All right, now Mr. DeLong has brought with him some video of different types of litterers. Tell us about what we're going to see.
What we need to do is understand our differences so that we can correct them. And this is a videotape of different ways of littering and who does it.
Let's take a look at Mr. DeLong's footage of different types of littering. Now, I believe you're going to talk us through this as well, right?
This first example is what I call the poop out. This guy is going to litter in a way that makes it look like he just pooped it out, like it's perfectly natural, that it just emanated from him, you know, or that it fell from the sky and it's not his fault. This is typically an upper middle class, well-educated person, maybe a wealthy, well-educated person who knows better. This is called the invisible trash can. You ever see an invisible trash can? I mean, that's a classic. This is a lower middle class mentality. It's the same kind of delusion that makes this person think that he can get out of debt by calling a 1-800 number. Lower middle class and poor people very often believe that the NBA is going to help them get out of the ghetto, and he's taking a shoot for the garbage, you know. That's what he's trying to do.
I don't know about
they practice their shot
now,
all the time. They think it's going to get them someplace.
Montana?
Yes, that's
You're
right.
from Montana.
All right, let's take a look.
What does that mean? I'm from Montana. What are you saying about that?
Well, I don't know. It's,
No, what are you
it's
saying?
a little
I know
different.
what she's saying.
What am I saying?
Montana, the Dakotas, they're not useful states. No offense.
All right, let's look at the next clip.
This next one is the most flagrant. It's called the graduation toss. That's what I call it. These are just poor people who have nothing to lose will do this. She's throwing it up like it's the end of the world. Anarchy. Who cares? All bets are off. She's got nothing to lose, you know.
That's how poor people get rid of their trash?
Absolutely. Well, that's the only people who we have seen littering in that brazen manner are people who are on the bottom rung of the economic ladder.
Carol, is that true?
When was the last time you left your state of Montana?
I leave it frequently. What's your point?
You do. Well, I just think that those are really narrow opinion of how people litter.
The group most likely to litter is 18 to 34-year-old black women.
What?
Now, I'm not happy to be reporting that statistic.
Come on.
I'm not happy to be reporting it.
Come on.
It's an observable fact. It's an observable fact, and we need to figure out why. We need to know, why are black women turning our world into such a pigsty? Why are they doing that? What we found when we studied them is that they tend to be very angry. They spend a lot of time talking on cell phones. They drink orange soda. They listen to rap-influenced R&B music, and they tend to believe that men are going to come along and clean up after them.
Do you agree with him?
Well, I think that he's just narrow-minded and is a racist.
Yes.
And I think that...
Anybody who talks about the reality of race is a racist. That's apparently what we're learning here. It's ridiculous. Everybody fits into a group, and different groups litter differently. You want to take up the issue of clean water, take it up with the Mexicans. And that's take a look at Mexico. Everybody knows you don't drink the water down in Mexico. Why is that? It's not like the entire population just woke up one day and said, we'd like to have dirty water.
I think you're forgetting that all the water that goes there flows first through America.
All the water in Mexico flows through America, but it's clean all the way up here, and then as soon as you hit the Mexican border, it gets dirty. Well, what are you talking about, guys?
You know what? They have
Give
a
me
different
break.
infrastructure. We have a very sophisticated infrastructure. That's why our water is treated. Some of it comes from groundwater.
All of what you're saying is a result of the culture. Culturally speaking, if you give a Mexican a glass of water and go away for 15 minutes, when you come back, his feet are going to be in it. Now, coincidence that the water in Mexico is undrinkable and filthy, and we need to do something about it.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Carol. You mentioned a bunch of different groups, both racial as well as financial. He hasn't mentioned white people at all, has he?
No.
Sure. Well, I'm happy to. Take a look at white trash. These people have taken littering to a whole new level. They're littering ovens and stoves and car parts on their lawns. And you know what? White trash are themselves littering up trailer parks and roller rinks.
Other than a white person that is somehow helpful or helps recycle or anything.
I'll tell you what, I will do that. As a matter of fact, we have found that Hispanic women are most likely to clean up after others. And I'll tell you who is a real...
That is so unfair.
I think that comment was obviously misinterpreted, because that's just what happens. Look, I'll tell you who's a real hero in this story, ethnically speaking, is the Jews. They don't throw a lot of things out. They hoard things. They're afraid that the things they own are going to be worth money, and they don't want to get rid of them. And when it comes to littering, every one of us could afford to be a little more Jewish.
Do you disagree with that?
You know what?
I don't appreciate that. We don't hoard things.
Well, I'm sorry.
That was true what you said about the Mexicans, but that about the Jews.
Come on!
Absolutely true. It's absolutely true. These are observable facts.
I don't agree with everything you say. I'll be honest. I mean, I do believe that people do some of those things, but my problem is with litter. What is litter, anyway? I mean, say I throw an apple core out the window.
That's
is that litter? That is? But it's going to grow an apple tree.
No.
Let me ask you this. What happens if I throw a live chicken out the window? Is that a litter? It's going to walk away. Is that litter? Answer the question. The environmentalists won't answer this question. Answer the question.
Yes.
What if I throw a raw chicken out the window? I throw it out the window. It's in the air. A German Shepherd jumps up, grabs it, and eats it. Am I littering into the dog's mouth, or am I feeding a dog? Answer the question.
This is hypothetical.
I throw a chicken strapped to a jetpack out the window. It flies up in the air. Up in the air, does not touch the ground. Is it litter?
I think it could be litter.
Why? It's not on the ground.
It's in the air. It's going to stay
All
there.
right, coming up, protecting wildlife, rainforests or pain forests. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Environmental organizations, Greenpeace or Greenbacks? With us is a representative from Nature's Homefront, an organization that works to protect the habitat of endangered species, Mary Kimball. Now, your organization has raised a great deal of money. Tell us about it.
Well, Chris, Nature's Homefront is concerned with the rapid encroachment and destruction of the natural habitat. We tend to focus on cute animals, pandas and koalas, spider monkeys, that sort of thing. You know, there are so many endangered animals that to try to get people interested in animals that aren't as lovable, it just takes too much effort.
Joey, is there any truth to that?
Well, I don't think so. What we need to do is realize that all animals have their place in the web of life.
Nature's Homefront's mascot is an animal called the cuchilla.
That's
Tell
right.
us about that.
Now, coochie is more effective than, for example, the proboscis monkey. It has a big, ugly nose, that monkey. The coochie there he is.
There we go.
He's wonderful. Now, this little guy has brought in 10 times the funds than any other animal in our advertisements. Now, Chris, we've had lots of success with, pandas as well, but you can't copyright a panda. Now, that's why we had our marketers come up with the coochia.
Wait. You said you had your marketers come up with the coochia?
That's correct.
So that's not a real animal?
No, so we focus grouped a number of animals, and we found that people were most moved by the ears of the marmoset,
right,
and the mane of the golden lion.
Can we see that picture again? All right.
Yeah, see, you can point them out. The ears of the marmoset, you'll see there.
Right.
The mane of the golden lion, the body of the koala, and the eyes of Penelope Cruz. Now, you can see it right there. She is a human, but she's also foreign. And it gives an element. We thought we needed a human element so we could feel like we were saving one of our own. Now,
Carol, what do you think of that?
Yeah.
I would not send a check to you. If you have endangered species, why don't you just use the real thing instead of making up some mascot?
For example, last year we we had a $5,000 plate fundraiser for the elephant habitat preservation. It was wonderful. People raved about the food, and it had an African theme. We even brought in an actual elephant to ride upon this magnificent beast with have a fine glass of wine. You realize how wonderful and important it was. That event by itself brought in $600,000, and we were able to purchase new hats for the Kenyan park rangers. Now, you're going to sit there and tell me that that's not a worthy cause?
I just think that your funds are spent terribly. And they're not really going back to save anything.
Our funds?
Yes.
They're not our funds, madam. I spend my entire life doing these events. Now, if I spend $100,000, when was the last time you spent $100,000 on a fabulous event to save these precious pandas?
Mary,
now, if I can present a $400 check of that event to a wonderful wildlife preserve, that's $400 they didn't have. Now, and that's something I'm very proud of, and I will not apologize for that.
$100,000, $400,000.
Mary,
why do you have to keep so much?
Mary, what about the fact your own salary is over $290,000?
I have to survive too. I have to pay my bills. To my friends, I practically am doing it for free.
All right, we are running out of time. Let's go to the quick balls round. A number of species are endangered due to illegal poaching and hunting. What can we do to stop this? Quick balls, go, Mary!
Well, Chris, we've all heard of the tragedy of people clubbing seals, innocent seals. Now, at great expense, Nature's Homefront sent a film crew, up to Newfoundland to film the seals being clubbed. Those things are cute. All right, now we put their pictures on coffee mugs and they sell like hotcakes. Now, unfortunately, when our crew went up, they couldn't find any seals actually being clubbed. So we clubbed a seal. Now,
Rebound to you, Carol. She's clubbing seals for TV. Go.
I think it's terrible.
It's terrible that I'm trying to save the precious little baby seals from being killed. You, madam, may as well be a murderer because you don't want the message to get out to the people.
All right, coming up. Actions speak louder than words, but does noise pollution speak louder than actions? When Crossballs returns.
On the next Crossballs.
Do prisoners make the best politicians?
If I was passionate enough to shoot a man over a DVD, imagine how passionately I'll represent you.
Welcome back. Tonight's topic, pollution in America. Are we turning a deaf ear to noise pollution? Joining us now via satellite from the organization Even Louder, which offers free legal assistance to people who've been fined for noise violations. Jerry Wilson.
But I can't hear him, though.
Jerry.
Oh, there he is.
Jerry.
What? Yeah?
Jerry, turn down your boombox.
No, Chris, I won't turn it down. It's my right to keep this as loud as I want to keep it.
Jerry.
That's what I'm trying to demonstrate to you. But since you're being really narrow-minded about this and acting like you can't hear me, I'll go ahead and turn it down.
All right. Thank you, Jerry.
Yeah, see, Chris.
Question. More than 40% of Americans are subjected to damaging levels of noise every day. What can we do about this problem, Jerry?
I think we have a
Did we just lose him?
No, Chris, that was me. I was faking you out. You see, I just proved my point. The quiet that I just did almost ruined your show. That's why I think everybody should talk as loud as I do. The Second Amendment guarantees me free speech. It doesn't qualify how loud or quiet that speech be.
What, Carol, is that true?
I disagree with him.
Why?
Because first of all, we're going to have a society
You need to
of deaf
speak up.
people.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, because you can't hear.
So, what, say that again?
Because he can't hear.
Why can't he?
Because he's deaf.
Jerry!
He's
Jerry, what are you doing? Jerry!
He's not allowed freedom of speech.
Jerry, what are you doing?
You know what? I am communicating in Morse code, which I think is a better way to communicate because there's no irony, there's no subtlety in my language. All you can do is decode it, and you hear my words.
What do you think about that?
I think he's cracked.
I don't agree with her.
Jerry, you're not even getting her a chance to respond. If you don't stop with the horn, I'm going to have the sound guy just cut you off completely, all right? Do you understand?
Yeah, I understand. I'm sorry.
All right, stop it. Go ahead.
I think
Jerry! All right, that's it. Cut off the sound. Cut him off. Jerry? All right, go ahead.
I think he's very...
You're not going to cut me off.
All right, we are out of time. Last word, Karen. All right, forget it. All right, we'll see you next time. Remember, last but caught between the crossballs.
The Graham Norton Effect.
I was on the beach having sex with some English sailors.
So I was down on all fours.
And I didn't realize the dog was in the room, biting my ass.
Audience humiliation guaranteed. On an all-new Graham Norton Effect, tonight at 10.
Wednesday on Reno, Jones and Garcia go undercover.
I think it's time for my homemade brownie.
Aphrodite makes the best brownies ever.
No, you didn't. Just how deep will they go? All new Reno 911, Wednesday at 10:30.